Ever look at your bank account at the end of the month and wonder where your hard-earned money went? You are not alone. We live in a world where buying a coffee or grabbing a flash sale item takes nothing more than a quick double click or a tap of your phone. But that incredible convenience hides a silent trap actively draining your savings. When money becomes invisible, spending becomes effortless, making your financial goals a daily uphill battle. You might think you just lack discipline, but financial experts point to a very real psychological phenomenon. It is called the pain of paying. This concept describes the negative emotional reaction your brain experiences when you part with your money. When you physically hand over a crisp $20 bill, your brain registers a tangible loss. You feel the wallet getting lighter, and that friction naturally makes you pause to evaluate the purchase. Digital payments completely bypass that natural psychological defense mechanism. Swiping a credit card or using a mobile wallet removes the physical sensation of loss, effectively anesthetizing the pain of paying. Your brain does not process a piece of plastic or a digital screen the same way it processes physical currency. Because the transaction feels abstract, the natural hesitation that stops an impulse purchase simply never kicks in. This disconnect is exactly why impulse buying has skyrocketed. You are navigating an environment engineered to make parting with your money as frictionless as humanly possible. Retailers know that removing the physical act of counting cash makes you far more likely to add another item to your cart. Those small digital transactions quietly add up, eating away at your income and leaving nothing for your actual financial goals. To take back control, you have to intentionally reintroduce a little bit of friction into your daily financial life. One of the most effective, proven strategies for doing this is the cash envelope system. This method involves taking physical cash and dividing it into different envelopes, each labeled for a specific spending category. When you need to buy something in that category, you only use cash from that specific envelope. This strategy specifically targets discretionary spending, which is the money you use for non-essential items and lifestyle choices after your fixed bills are paid. Discretionary categories, like dining out or entertainment, are usually where budgets fall apart because they are highly variable. By using physical envelopes for these areas, you create a tangible boundary around your most vulnerable spending habits, turning abstract numbers into a physical reality. The real power of this method lies in the budget constraint it creates. When the cash in the dining out envelope is gone, it is completely gone. You cannot simply swipe a card or borrow from tomorrow to fund a restaurant trip today. That hard physical limit forces you to make intentional decisions about what you actually value, prioritizing your spending based on reality rather than a vague feeling. The first time you try this, it might feel slightly uncomfortable. Standing at the checkout line and physically counting out bills requires a vulnerability that a quick tap of a phone avoids. But that slight discomfort is exactly the point. It is the pain of paying waking back up, reminding you that your money has value. That momentary friction protects your future wealth from your present impulses. You might run into a moment where you miscalculate, standing at the register, realizing the total is $5 over your grocery limit. In a fully digital world, you would just put it on a credit card. Here, you are forced to look at your cart and decide which item you do not actually need. It feels like a setback, but it is a massive victory for your financial awareness. Those small victories at the checkout counter quickly translate into visible progress at the household level. You will start to notice that you are no longer holding your breath when checking your bank balance. Because your discretionary spending is tightly contained within those physical envelopes, the money left in your checking account actually stays there. The stress of accidental overspending evaporates, replaced by quiet confidence. Of course, living in a modern economy means an all-cash lifestyle is not always practical for every single purchase. You might need to buy things online or book travel. You can adapt the physical envelope concept into a digital equivalent by opening separate checking accounts for specific purposes. You transfer a set amount into a dedicated spending account each payday, only carrying the debit card linked to that specific account. Whether you use physical paper or distinct digital accounts, the core psychological principle remains exactly the same. You are establishing a hard barrier between your spending money and your savings. You are actively choosing to make impulse buying harder so that saving becomes easier. This intentional separation protects the money you need for larger life goals from being slowly drained by everyday conveniences. One of the most critical goals you can protect with this system is your emergency fund. An emergency fund is a dedicated savings account containing 3 to 6 months of living expenses, set aside specifically for unexpected financial shocks. When daily spending is unchecked, building this safety net feels impossible. But when you cap your discretionary leaks, you suddenly find the extra dollars needed to fund that crucial buffer. Having that dedicated safety net fundamentally changes how you experience the world. A blown tire or a broken water heater transforms from a devastating financial crisis into a minor, manageable inconvenience. You stop living in a state of low-grade panic because you know you have the cash reserves to handle it. That profound peace of mind is what you buy when you limit your everyday spending. A common misconception is that strict budgeting or using cash boundaries means depriving yourself of all joy. People often assume that taking control of their money means they can never treat themselves again. The reality is exactly the opposite. When you set aside a specific amount of cash for entertainment, you are giving yourself absolute permission to spend that money guilt-free, knowing it will not derail your savings. The guilt-free nature of intentional spending actually makes your purchases far more enjoyable. You savor that dinner out because you know you planned for it and can genuinely afford it. The anxiety that usually follows a digital spending spree is completely gone. You are no longer borrowing joy from tomorrow. You are fully experiencing it today, safe in the knowledge that your broader financial house is in order. This level of control is especially vital if you are working to break free from the cycle of consumer debt. Credit cards are designed to mask the true cost of an item through the mechanics of borrowing. When you carry a balance, you are subjected to an annual percentage rate, or APR, which is the yearly interest charged to borrowers. High revolving balances can also severely damage your FICO score, which is the standard 3-digit number lenders use to measure your credit risk. High APRs and a damaged score mean you pay significantly more for everything. Relying on a physical constraint strategy forcefully breaks the habit of leaning on credit to bridge the gap between your income and your desires. By committing to spend only what you have allocated in your envelopes, you stop adding new charges to your credit cards. This is the absolute first and most necessary step in any successful debt payoff journey. You have to stop the bleeding before you start healing. Once you have stabilized your daily spending, you can aggressively target those existing balances. You might choose a proven strategy like the debt snowball, paying off your smallest balances first to build quick psychological momentum. Or you might prefer the debt avalanche, mathematically targeting the balance with the highest APR to save the most money on interest. Your newly found budget constraint ensures you have the free cash flow to make those payments. The community and household impact of this shift cannot be overstated. Financial stress is one of the leading causes of tension in relationships, often stemming from a lack of clarity about where the money is going. Operating within clear, tangible boundaries brings transparency to your household finances. It shifts the conversation from arguments about past purchases to collaborative planning for future goals. As those debts disappear and your emergency reserves fill up, your focus naturally shifts toward long-term wealth building. You start looking past the next paycheck and begin thinking about the next decade. The money that used to vanish into mindless digital taps can now be directed toward investments that will grow over time. This is where you truly transition from just surviving the month to actively designing your financial future. This transition introduces you to the incredible power of compound interest. Compound interest is the process where you earn interest on your initial savings and then continue to earn interest on that new, larger total over time. It is the engine that drives true wealth creation, turning small, consistent contributions into massive financial security. But this engine only runs if you have surplus capital, which your cash constraint system provides. Finding that surplus capital does not require a massive salary increase or a sudden windfall. It comes from reclaiming the margins of your current income. It comes from recognizing that the convenience of digital payments has been silently taxing your wealth and choosing to opt out of that system. By embracing a little bit of friction today, you are buying yourself massive freedom tomorrow. Start small on this journey. You do not have to overhaul your entire financial life by tomorrow morning. Pick just one single discretionary category that you know is a weak spot for you. For the next 30 days, commit to funding that one specific category exclusively with physical cash. Put the bills in an envelope, leave your debit card at home when you go out, and simply observe how your behavior changes. You will likely find that you spend less, but you appreciate what you do buy significantly more. You will feel the weight of your choices, and you will start to reconnect with the true value of your labor. That realization is empowering. It strips away the shame and confusion of living paycheck to paycheck, replacing it with clear, actionable data. You are the active director of your own resources. The digital world will always try to make spending easier, faster, and more thoughtless. But your financial security requires intention, awareness, and sometimes a little bit of healthy friction. By understanding the psychology of your spending and putting physical boundaries in place, you are building a fortress around your future. It takes effort, but the lasting wealth you will build is worth every moment of that initial discomfort. You have the power to change your trajectory.